Hello everybody, welcome to my video of SPSS for beginners, in which I will focus on collecting data techniques and how we can run the descriptive analysis test, normality test, the one sample t-test, and how we can build our dummy or categorical variables. As well as in this video, I'm going to focus on how we can construct a good questionnaire. Before defining the term of questionnaire, we have to explain the use techniques which we can employ in order to collect our data. Indeed, there are many tools which can be used to collect the data which is needed for your research. For example, we can use interviews, questionnaires, and secondary data. So now we will explain the term questionnaire, which is a series of written questions or items in a fixed and rational order. And it can be defined also as a tool that is used to collect primary data. The primary data are the data which is going to be collected for the first time. By contrast, the secondary data are the data which are already available or which was used by previous research. A questionnaire is an instrument that is used to collect answers for our questions and collecting factual data or gathering information or measures. A well-designed questionnaire that gives accurate and relevant information to our research questions, and it minimizes the potential sources of bias. When we can use a questionnaire, actually we can use this technique when we want to collect data for the first time, which is primary data, or data that has not been gathered before. The main important thing is to ensure validity and reliability while using questionnaire. The validity of the results relies on the quality of your questionnaire. For example, good questionnaires are difficult to construct. On the other hand, bad questionnaires are difficult to analyze. The tool of questionnaire sometimes is found to be difficult to be designed for several reasons. For example, each question must provide a valid and reliable measure. The questions must be clearly communicate the research intention to the survey respondent. The respondent is the person who is going to answer the questions of your questionnaires. How we can ensure validity and reliability while constructing our questionnaire. Validity, it must measure the quantity or concept that is supposed to be measured. In other words, the question must be sufficient to achieve the study aims and objectives. To ensure that, you have to review the available literature and make sure that previous research to some extent used the same question for the same purpose. For example, the study title here in our video will be the relationship between options contracts and investors' needs. So, how we are going to put a question that will be able to reflect our title. Options contracts conduct a vital role to enhance the level of diversification in an investment portfolio. As we can see, the question covers the aim of our study or reflects the title of our research. How we can get reliability? The term reliability measures the quantity or concepts in a consistent manner, meaning that if we repeat the study under the same circumstances, we must get the same answers and results. Unbiased measures the quantity or concepts in a way that doesn't systematically under or overestimate the true value. The main steps which we have to follow in order to demonstrate a good questionnaire. First of all, we have to write the primary and secondary aims of our study. For example, the aim of our research is identifying the relationship between options contracts and investors' needs. We have also to write concepts and information to be collected that relates to our aim. We can get that through the items of our questionnaire. And the main important step is to review the current or the available literature in order to identify the validity of our questionnaire and making sure that the available literature to some extent use same questions for the same purpose. We have to demonstrate a draft of our questionnaire. After that, we have to revise our draft in order to finalize it and get the final draft. For example, if we are going to construct a questionnaire that includes 10 questions, the best thing here is to collect 15 to 20 questions. After that, to start scrolling out the bad questions in order to select the 10 best questions which are going to help us in achieving the core aim of our study. Then we get the final draft. And the main important thing is also, it's an important step to define the aims of our study and to determine the study sample or the population of our research. And we also have to define the variables which are going to be used in our study. And in some research, we are supposed to deal with demographic variables, for example, years of experience, the study level, and these variables are called or are known to as demographic variables. And in some research also we have to deal with dummy or categorical variables. Therefore, in this video, I'm going to explain how we can construct or build a dummy variable. For example, if we are going to have gender in our research or financial crisis. So the dummy variable, it's a variable takes two values. For example, if we are talking about gender needs a dummy variable that takes two values such as 1 and 2, while financial crisis takes two values such as 1, which means the financial crisis is adversely or significantly impacted the economy or investors' behavior, while the 0 means that there was no effect to the global financial crisis, for example. And the most common used format in questionnaire is the 5-Likert scale. This scale measures the extent to which a person agrees or disagrees with the questions, and the most common scale is started from 1 to 5. Often this scale takes 1 if the respondent strongly disagrees, 2 if he or she disagrees, 3 is neutral, 4 is agree, and 5, which is the highest mark, strongly agree, while 1, which is strongly disagree, takes the lowest mark. For example, options contracts conduct a vital role to enhance the level of diversification in an investment portfolio, And in this case, the respondent is going to answer to give 1 if he or she strongly disagrees, or 2 if he or she disagrees, while 3 if neutral, and 4 agree, and finally 5 if he or she strongly agrees. Here we can see an example for the 5-Likert scale. For example, if the respondent strongly agrees, he will put tick here, which will take the mark of 5, while strongly disagree, he will select this option, which is the lowest mark, that's going to take 1, which is strongly disagrees. And here also we can see another example for the 5-Likert scale. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first one very important will take 5, important 4, so and so, which is neutral, will take 3, and here 2, and here which is not significant will take 1. Which message you have to hold to your respondents? Actually the main important thing is to make your respondent feels comfortable and satisfied, and you can accomplish this aim through telling him that your data and all provided information will be treated confidentially, and in this case even your supervisor is not allowed to have a look for your answers or the results of your questionnaire. And now we are going to start with running our tests. Here I'm going to open the software. Normally, usually it takes some seconds, and that's fine. So you have to be patient. That's fine. So if you already have the file on your desktop, easily we click here and then open all files, questionnaire SPSS. That is the variable, the file I'm going to work with. Then click open. It's not viewer document. That's fine. Where is my file? Question CSS. Okay. Here we can see our variable, and as I have explained in my first videos, SPSS for beginners, just to let you know, the SPSS software has two windows. The first one, which is the data editor, where you can enter your values, and this window has two sheets. The first one, data view. Here we can enter our variable, while in the variable view we can adjust or enter the names of our variable, and here we also have the output or result screen. So in this case I'm going to explain demographic variables, for example, which is employment or experience. Let's focus on experience. As I explained in my previous videos, we have to give values for our demographic variables. For example, 1, and the label is 1 to 3, which means 1 year to 3 years experience. Then we click add, and 2, 3 years to 5 years experience, and 3, we can see here 3 is 5 to 10 years experience. Then we click add, and for more than 10 years experience, we can try this, more than 10 years, for more than 10 years. Then we click add, then we click OK. And if we are going to include a categorical or dummy variable, easily we are going to add a new variable, for example financial crisis, that takes 1 and 0, 1, 0. We go to variable view, we add here financial crisis. We are going to give value. 1 means there is an impact, then we click add, while 0 there is no impact, then we click add. And here we can see that we have built our dummy variable, and here you can see impact, which is 1, and there is no impact, which is 0. And the same is for gender. We enter here gender, then we give values, for example 1 which is male and 2 female. 1, the label is male, then we click add. 2, the label is female, then we click add. And now as we can see that our data are ready to be analyzed. I'm going to drop this variable clear. First of all, I'm going to run the descriptive test. Descriptive here, for example, questions from 1 to 6 relates to one hypothesis or one variable. For example, here we can see the most attractive question that was interested for respondents will be this one. Why this one? Because it is the highest mean, and as you can see all means are higher than the average of our questionnaire. The average of our questionnaire can be calculated through computing 1, which is the lowest mark, which is strongly disagree, with 5, which is the highest mark, then the result will be 6. After that we divide it by 2, then 3 will be the average of our tool. So as we can see here, all means are higher than the average of our questionnaire, meaning that all our questions were acceptable, meaning that we can consider them to be valid. Then I'm going to try how we can run normality test. We go to analyze, then non-parametric test, then we go here and we select this option, which is Kolmogrov Smirnov test. We can see here. So there is another step before running this test, which is to compute our variable. For example, I'm going to explain this. We go to compute, as I explained, question from 1 to 6 relates to one hypothesis or one variable, which I'm going to call it hypothesis 1, then 1 plus 2 plus question 3 plus question 4. Sorry for that, I have to move it on the right hand side, plus question 5 plus question 6. Then we click OK, and here after that we can run the normality test through using the Kolmogrov Smirnov technique. Here we can go down to hypothesis 1, then we click OK, and here we can see the results of our test. After that, I'm going to run the one sample t test. We use this test to find the relationship between two variables through finding the differences between means. We go here, then we go to compare means, then one sample t test. As we have just considered questions from 1 to 6 relates to our variable or our hypothesis, which postulates that there is a significant relationship between options contracts and diversification. Then we click OK, and here we can see our results, or we can use easily, we can go to compare means one sample t test, and which is better to select our hypothesis. Then we click OK, and here we can see the results of our test, and here we find that this value, which is lower than the level of significance, meaning that we have to reject our hypothesis and accepting the alternative one, which in other words means that there is no statistical or significant correlation between our examined variables. And the most important thing is the Cronbach alpha that is used to define whether our questionnaire is reliable or not. Then we go to our questions 1 to 6, for example. Then we move them to the right hand side, then we click OK, and here we can see this result is less than the acceptable degree, which is 60%, meaning that our questionnaire is not reliable. Thank you for watching, and wait me on the coming video to explain how we can run regression through SPSS. Thank you.